It's always a good idea if you're going to start something. You should probably start it with the prayers of the Holy Fathers, because you need all the help you can get when undertaking such a task. As during the days of COVID, we now have to have proof that we have a pass sanitaire, which is that we've been vaccinated, as well as a recent COVID test every time we went to eat.
They go back in with the other one, grab it out, then you're done. So good.
We spent a lovely night in a sweet little bed and breakfast, and the lady was kind enough to give us a ride to the rent-a-car station where we had rented a car for the rest of our trip. Unfortunately, when we got there, the man was sitting in the office, but the doors were locked and he wasn't going to open them for nothing. So it became very interesting. Let me rent it at the airport. Thank you for calling. Push 1 if, push 2 if, push 3. Incroyable.
Yeah, it's crazy, huh?
With sheer determination, they finally got the guy to open the door, and $600 overcharged, we decided we were definitely buying a new car when we moved to France.
Come over here, I want to show you something. Look at this beautiful machine. It is a Fiat from, I think, from the 1960s, 1950s, which means Fiat, fix it again, Tony, okay?
So we're coming to you live from maybe our new street that we're going to live on if we buy the house here. And down at the end of the street is the church that goes off every hour, which is very, very cool. We're having dinner at a creperie, which I've dined at before with Miss Grace. I did recon in June and found this house. Now I'm here to show it to Marcus. But the coolest thing of all is tomorrow is the American Film Festival in a town only an hour away from here. So Marcus gets to do theater. Maybe. He just critiqued me. It's not theater, it's film. Theater is on stage, film is in a movie. My bad. So the next day we headed out to see this land of enchantment, Deauville, and next to it was a little town called Honfleur, where we were going to meet with Derek and Jenny and have lunch. It turned out to be a very, very pretty little town, but also very, very expensive, so we didn't even bother looking at houses here. Now here we are in front of the red carpet where Marcus is practicing his acceptance speech for when he wins a future award for original screenplay. Then off to do negotiations on what we thought would be our next home. After meeting with the mayor and the powers that be in the town, we had to say goodbye to the house. There was just too many abandoned buildings and too much repair to be done in the town, so we had to say goodbye to the sweet people that had been helping us, the owners of the home, and Peter, our realtor. And now we head off across the beautiful landscape of France, looking for some place to call home. fragrance come through the phone yet, but oh my god, this place smells divine. Le fromage, tons of le fromage. So everybody in the local bar now knows we're looking for a place to buy. So the little guy in the beret decides he's going to sell his house. So he loads us into his work van, and on the way to the house he wants to sell us, he stops and sees his wife and thinks he better probably tell her about it. He's going to sell it for $150,000. And this is the house.
In the evening, welcome, and after to visit in interior, okay?
So like Goldilocks, the house was too small. So Jenny to the rescue. God bless her, she found us another house. And voila, this was the house. Perfect. We made an offer. The offer was accepted. Now to return to America, to put the banking work together. And we finally have a home in France. So it was pretty cool driving around the landscape of France and looking at all the beautiful sights of Paris. We were enjoying it quite a bit, knowing we had to return back to Connecticut, pack all of our belongings, talk with the bank, continue our negotiations with our mortgage broker in France before heading home. And we stopped to see Monet's garden, which was one of the highlights of our trip. Well, it's time to go home now and start doing all the hard work, getting the visas, which has already been applied for 4 months ago, getting our banker to sign over our documents, and we are off and running. In the adventures of Pam and Marcus, we are headed to France on Tuesday, God willing. So we're expecting like the biggest snowstorm ever coming in this weekend, and we're all in boxes, and we really don't have a house to move them into yet, because the house that we were going to buy, the second house we were going to buy, the bank didn't get our stuff in time, blah, 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 blah. Fast forward. We've been trying like hell to get to France, because the food's better. They have a lot of cows and horses and livestock. They're not trying to sell you shit every time you drive down a road. All you see is nature. You don't see billboards. You don't see strip malls. All you see is nature. And that was our love for France. And the people are wonderful. And so we don't have anything better to do, and so that's why we want to go to France. But gosh darn, what things we've been through. Now, we may or we may not have a house when we get there. But shit. Someone had told me how hard it would be to follow a dream. I would never, ever ever, ever have guessed it would be this hard. So I'm hoping there's a part 3 where it was worth it. Well, it turns out that our luck wasn't really getting much better. We ended up flying out in a huge snowstorm. And then it got even more interesting. Marcus and I have officially entered COVID hell. COVID hell. We had our tests. They came back negative. We got to the airport. We went to check in all of our bags. And the lady tells us that they're 10 minutes beyond the time when the flight's supposed to go. So she needs to rebook us to fly to France. Turns out that conveniently they have, because this happens all the time, they'll even deny you for 1 minute. If your test comes back 1 minute before your flight leaves or later than your flight leaves, then you're at risk for getting COVID and infecting the whole planet. So now we had to go from Terminal A to Terminal E with 7 suitcases. And guess what it cost us? Conveniently, at this little express check, before we could get on our flight, $500. $500 effing dollars. Do I sound like I'm excited to go to France? Do I sound like I'm just so over this adventure? We still don't know if we have a house when we get there. Thank God we got an apartment. There's just no words. Okay, we're here. Now what? I think it's about to begin. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. If you're gonna have to go on a house search and you have to do it in France, darn your bad luck. It is such an amazing country, such beautiful churches, such beautiful architecture, such amazing landscapes. But we finally found it through the grace of God and through the help of amazing friends. And voila, we finally have a home in Bonneville, near the coolest towns that we saw, Honfleur and Deauville. The ones we thought we couldn't afford. Well, guess what? We found one that we could afford just outside of there in a pastoral little Norman village with horses in the backyard And I think we're going to be pretty happy here.